What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel for I guess this will be the last video of this series, the best star card series for Battlefront 2. We've finally made it to the Specialist class, also known as the Sniper class, and we're going to just quickly go over these star cards, because a lot of these do kind of overlap with the previous ones, and by a lot of these, I mean mostly the ones up here. The ones down below are just the ability star cards, so we will go over the boost first. The stealth, you remain hidden from enemy scanners, which is great because this is the only class in which you can do that, so you will not pop up when you fire your weapon. And just as an added bonus, in case that isn't enough for you, you get an additional 125 well, no, not an additional, you get up to 125 melee damage. I think the default melee damage is 50, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's 50. Don't quote me on that one though, because I have not tested that in it's been a while. When I first tested it, it was 50, but that was probably like a year and a half ago. So now we've got the Marksman, and that one is the heat reduction card for your blaster if you were to deal a headshot to an enemy. And in this one, I don't enjoy for the Marksman class because, well, like, let's take a look at the weapons. Like, these weapons are, I mean, this is the best, I guess, cooling power sniper rifle there is. The rest of them you can see take a significant drop. I think the second highest is what, 2? 3. Okay, but the first one does no damage, so it's not really a gun worth using. And because of that fact, I just don't think the Marksman card is really worth it because of the high damage and the very little cooling rate that these weapons have. The second, or the third, I can't count, Bounty Hunter. Y'all know from the previous 3 videos, if you watch those, from Assault, Heavy, and Officer, this is by far one of my favorite cards right now, and that's just because of my ridiculous level and playtime with each of the actual standard 4 classes. I'm just trying to get heroes and specialists and all sorts of bonus stuff that you need battle points for, so this one's pretty self-explanatory. Expert weapons handling, the increased cooling duration. So like I said in the last video, once your weapon gets to that overheat point and the heat is now going down, there's a blue line, there's a red line, and then there's a golden line. If you click on that golden line, this is what this is. It will increase the amount you can fire before it stops with its unlimited heat, with the 66% increase. To me, again, for the sniper class, it's just not really worth it unless you're using specifically this weapon, which I do use quite frequently because with its burst mode and its dual zoom, it is a very good aggressor weapon to use. The Survivalist, this is one that I actually take off and put on quite frequently in relation to the Killstreak, Infiltration. Those are the 2 that I swap out pretty regularly between one another. I just like having that faster health regeneration time. It makes it a lot easier to get in and out of fights, and then people aren't expecting it to. Like, let's say they get you down health quite a bit, they're expecting it to be at least a couple seconds before you're regenerating health, and if you've got that 40% boost, then you're going to regenerate health a whole lot quicker, and you may actually have that health back by the time they come and finally try to finish you off, and then you may have the upper hand in that fight right then and there. Resourceful, just like all the other ones that all the other classes, it is a 28% speed increase as far as the recharge of your abilities go. It can be useful, but again, for the sniper class, I just don't use it too much because I would rather have better abilities. The abilities, in my opinion, for the sniper class are just bad. I do not like the improved thermal binoculars whatsoever. I would almost always rather have the shield than those. It doesn't seem to help me too much. I mean, maybe on Hoth, but that's it. That's really the only map that I could even think of where these are a decent replacement to the personal shield. Moving on to Brawler. This one, just like the other classes, you get health on a melee kill. This one's nice to combine with stealth just because you've got that increased melee damage and you get the health on kill. So if they start to melee back, when you finish them off because you have a higher damage output for your melee, you will get health on the kill, which is just nice, especially if you combine all 3, the personal shield, brawler, and stealth. It's a deadly combo, and that's how I see a lot of people getting their sniper kills, because again, the snipers are just, it's tough to get through. That first sniper rifle, Oh my god, it took me forever to finally unlock this thing, the IQ A11. And it's actually not bad. Like, I used it for a while. But then once you unlock the NT, there's just no point in using the IQ A11 as opposed to the NT. This thing's damage, it's crazy. If you hit a headshot, they're dead. They're just dead. Oh, went too far. Take reduced damage when at critical health for the sniper class. This is a card that I don't use too often because it gives you +1 extra hit once you get low, or I guess to that critical health point. Now, again, it has been a little while since I've tested this one, just like the other classes. However, if it is still even close to it, even if it was 2 hits, I probably wouldn't use it that often, just because of how rapidly you can take 2 hits. You know, with the assault rifle CR2, you'll take 2 hits almost immediately. Moving on to the ability cards, we've got Improved Shot Grenade. This is one I actually quite enjoy using because it's first, the shot grenade by default will sit on the ground and just do electric damage, and it doesn't do a ton of damage, but it slows enemies down. And I'm always surprised at how long it's actually staying there and shocking people. You throw this card on and you get an extra, because I think the default time is 3. You throw this on, you get 4, and then you upgrade it all the way and you get 6 seconds. And it seems like it lasts forever with this card on, so this is definitely one worth considering, and one that I will frequently swap in and out. It just depends on the situation. Improved thermal binoculars. The spot duration goes up to 12. I think the default here is either 6 or 8. But I just have never been able to get into the thermal binoculars. I've tried so many times, and it just never is a card that I think is worth putting on there as opposed to other cards. Like, I'd rather have the Repulsor Cannon or the Stinger Pistol. Actually, the Stinger Pistol's pretty good. It's just there's so many better cards to put rather than this one. So I personally stay away from it. But hey, if it's your thing, go for it. If you can make it work, then that's what it's there for. Scramble Infiltration. This one I personally don't use too often. Basically, when you've got infiltration going and you're nearby an enemy, it scrambles their minimap, and I've never really noticed a difference when I'm using it. I seem to die just as easily as if I didn't have it. I guess the enemies are a little more confused at where I am when they're trying to kill me. I guess if we're in a building and it's close combat, and I'm thinking of the AT Walker on Kashyyyk specifically, that may be a good situation to use it in. But when it's being used against you, it's the most annoying thing. It's like a counter UAV in Call of Duty. You don't realize how often you rely on your minimap until someone's jamming it, and bam, you wish you had it back. But this one's definitely worth considering. But again, I don't use it too often in my class setup. The trip mine, this one's pretty funny. I've seen some bodies go flying with these things going off. The trip mine does replace the thermal binoculars, so it is a big benefit, in my opinion, when you can replace those thermal binoculars. And the recharge time going all the way down to 16, that's almost half of what it originally is if you were to put this card on before it's upgraded. And it just does crazy amounts of damage. I'm pretty sure it's a one-hit kill for all these standard classes. That includes heavy with the 200 hit points, and I believe it includes a couple of the specialists, so like the super battle droid. It doesn't actually include the super battle droid. I think it includes the rocket droid. Man, I thought there was another one. I can't think of it, but it is definitely a card worth considering, especially if you're going to be sniping. You want to throw that down and be able to not have to check all corners or everyone around you. You want to snipe in peace. This is definitely a way to go. The personal shield, I kind of talked about it a little bit already, but the fact that you can get it all the way up to 240 health is pretty crazy. And again, it replaces the right ability, which is the thermal binoculars. I've already expressed how much I don't enjoy using those, so to me, this is one of my favorite cards, and it's usually in one of my 3 star card slots. We have Killstreak Infiltration. This one's pretty good because let's say you are a sniper and you end up getting in a close quarters combat situation. The middle ability, which is the Infiltration, it's just a little burst, I guess, SMG, where you can shoot people, and it does go down pretty quick. However, when you get a kill with this card on, you get 55% of that time regained. So it makes it very, very useful when running in and being aggressive you can just spray and pray half the time and get a kill, especially in close quarters combat. This is definitely one that's in my top 3 and is usually in my rotation, if not always in my rotation. The Hardened Infiltration, this one is I guess it's a close second for Killstreak Infiltration because you do take less damage while Infiltration is active. However, you still don't regain anything, and like I said before, the Infiltration goes down pretty quick when you're firing. Every time lasers are leaving that gun, it's going down significantly on that timer, and I've had it disappear on me just as I was getting a kill, and it's the most upsetting thing. So I just personally like the one that recharges once you get a kill. It kind of persuades you to go a little more aggressive and get in the enemy's face, and maybe you'll go on longer kill streaks than if you hadn't had that motivation of trying to keep your Infiltration alive. The next one we've got here is Repulsor Cannon. This one I don't use too often, and that is because I do enjoy using the shot grenade, and it does replace that ability. However, I have seen people get absolutely launched with this thing. It's basically like a force push for a trooper, but you do have to be pretty close to use it. It's not like Obi-Wan's where you can charge it up and it's long distance, and it's not like Anakin's where you can pull people from a mile away. You do have to get pretty close. I guess that's most comparable to Yoda's force push, but I would say it's even a little shorter than that one. It does have a nice long recharge time of 32. Unless you haven't upgraded it, then it's 40, but it's definitely worth considering. It's for sure fun to play around with, but if you are trying to figure out which of these cards to upgrade in order, this is probably one you want to wait until a little bit later. Maybe when you get around level 60, that's when you start considering it, but there's definitely a couple other cards you should upgrade before it. And then last but not least, for sure, is the Stinger Pistol. This one prevents victims from regenerating, which is very nice, and it does do damage for 10 seconds. I haven't tested it in a while, so I don't know if it's still as good as it was. It is quite fun to use because you can hit someone with it, and then as they're not able to regenerate health for those 10 seconds, you can just quickly slide up and finish them off, either with a melee because you've got these cards on, or with your sniper rifle if you can get that close-up shot, or even if you're a long distance away. And I think that is going to do it for the star cards. So my top 3 picks: the Bounty Hunter, Personal Shield, and the Killstreak Infiltration. And then I guess if I had that's a tough decision though. I would probably go Survivalist, then Improved Shot Grenade, then Resourceful, then Stealth. That's probably enough, yeah. And specifically, I'd probably go around that order. Trip Mine's pretty good. I just don't use it a whole lot for what I do. As you can see, I've got the A280 CFE, which is basically like the assault rifle class. I'm forgetting what it's called. Basically, it's the burst gun. This one, however, you do have to get the burst mode unlocked. Until that is unlocked, it is just a semi-auto. And that is why the rate of fire is only a 5 bar instead of upwards of that, like a 7 or even an 8. But the dual zoom's pretty nice. The ion shot I just don't use too often. I do have it unlocked, and it does great damage against the AT walkers, vehicles, starships, just really anything of the sort. But if you're the sniper class, you typically aren't going for the objective. You're trying to snipe people off of the objective, which makes the ion shot not really as worth it. The first gun you end up unlocking is the IQA-11, as I talked about before. It does have a ton of damage, and it's nice that you get that one first, because this one, not a whole lot of damage. That looks like, what, 4, 5, 6 bars of damage, and then the cooling power is not that great either. The range is significantly better, though, than this one. 2 bars, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but as far as these guns go, it is a lot. The IQ-A11, however, has 9 range, 9 damage, 2 cooling power, and 2 rate of fire. The perks that I use, honestly, bolt speed's really good. I'm not too sure why I had dual zoom on. The improved cooling is good as well. However, if you are sniping, you may not need that, so you may want to swap the improved cooling for bolt speed. But the dual zoom is pretty essential, especially since this is a very long distance rifle. You want to see as far as you can and get that accurate shot going. Like I said, this one's probably my personal favorite, but it is the aggressive approach to this class. Like if you are a very infiltration type specialist, then you want to consider this one for sure. Even its semi-auto mode is pretty quick. You just need to have a slight trigger finger and you'll be good to go for that one. One of my favorites for sure though is the NT242. Absolutely destroys because of that damage. I don't like the disruptor shot as much because it is explosive and it overheats your gun significantly faster. The improved cooling is a good one, and the dual zoom is a good one. Disruptor shot may be the thing for you. It just depends on your sniping style. But this is definitely a long distance rifle. I guess you can try and get in their face and quick scope or no scope or whatever you want to try, but it's just not really the best thing for this game. The cycler rifle I was pretty excited for because it has almost as much range as the NT, and it does have a little bit less damage. But with the improved cooling and the reduced recoil, I figured I'd be able to get up close, line up a good headshot, and then move on to the next person. However, you can only get up to 3 shots off before your gun overheats. 3. And if you don't hit a headshot, you have to hit them twice. Unless they're a heavy, then you have to hit them 3 times. Or unless they're a super battle droid, the ones with more health, then you have to hit them 4 times. And that's just not probable with this weapon. It's also not the best for sniping because it does become hard to hit people with headshots. And if you're going for headshots anyway, you may as well get the NT242, because if you hit a headshot with that, even on a super battle droid, that thing is going down. It does not matter. It has just died because you hit a headshot with the highest damage rifle in the game. So my top 2 guns are definitely the A280 CFE, and that's just because of how aggressive I play the game, and then the NT242, and that one is probably my favorite sniper or actual sniper rifle for sniping long distance. I think that's about it though. We went over all the cards, we went over all the weapons. I do hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to smack that like button. If you didn't, go ahead and tell me what you'd rather see in the comments down below. I'll do my best to oblige. Anyway, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.